Hey guys, how are you? I pray that you have had an amazing week. I pray that you guys forgive me for not being here. What is this in the way? Let me see. I'm trying to see what all this stuff is poking out here. I pray you guys forgive me. I have not been live probably about anywhere between 8 to 10 days, and there is definitely a reason for that, but we'll get into it as you guys come in the room. Let me know that you're here. Tonight's lesson is going to be really good. Tonight's lesson is, I'm just going to keep it real with you. It may not be fully palatable. I do believe that most of it is. I do understand that I'm going to say some things that can be offensive to some people, but you guys know when you're on this channel, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to preach the truth to you. So at the end of the day, I'm not designed to come out and teach in a way that's going to make people say, "Oh, thank you so much." Um, I really appreciate, you just really staying within my boundaries as it relates to me not getting offended. All right, give me a second. Hey, hey, hey. So my design is to get you free. My design is to get you in the will of God. My design is to get you free. And I think that, well, I know that's true for every last one of us who are in ministry. That is our assignment. Those of us who are definitely called to ministry, that is our assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to get started. I'm waiting on you guys to come into the room. And again, I want to just apologize. I haven't been on here for about 10 days, and I got, I think I only saw one message. I have had people to ask me, hey, what's going on with you? Just a FYI, as everybody begins to come into the room, I went through 2 weeks of warfare, 2 weeks of warfare, whereas my heat went out. And y'all know that those 2 weeks were cold, super duper cold. And I think I told you guys about it when it first started or what have you. But it was really 2 months of warfare, but the last 2 weeks were crazy. And we were coming off a corporate fast from our church or what have you. So I think that whatever I was dealing with, whatever struggle I had, that thing had to break. But in the midst of it, I went through quite a bit of warfare. So I'm leasing the house that I live in, and this is just small talk as you guys come into the room. I'm leasing the house that I live in, and ever since they went over to another company, they have been whack, wiggity wiggity whack. Okay, they've been horrible. This new company is horrible. I wouldn't wish them on my worst enemy. But they don't want to fix nothing. I don't care what you submit into them. They don't want to fix it. They did that in 2022. I told them about one of my bathrooms. It was running. You could hear it shh, and it wouldn't stop. And I told them about that. That lady gonna tell me it was gonna be a month before they can get somebody to come out and fix it. And I was like, she was like, it's not constituting as an emergency. I said, ma'am, this is an emergency. She didn't want to listen. It ended up running for 2.5 weeks. By the grace of God, the company was replacing water heaters. And a man that reached out to me that day said, "Hey," or reached out to me like 2.5 weeks later and said, "Hey, we got to come out and replace your water heaters." And when they replaced the water heater, it wouldn't settle. Whatever gauge they had, it wouldn't settle. And he was like, "I don't know what's going on with yours." And then he's like, "You've been having plumbing issues." When I told him that, he had to go out there and fix the issue. He had to go fix the issue in order for the water heater to work, or what have you. Long story short, my water bill is typically $20. It came that month and it was $600. I reached out to the leasing company, let them know you guys will be politely paying this bill. They tried to get out of it, said we're not responsible. I said, no, you are, because I called y'all the day that the issue the issue started. You guys put it off for an entire month, so you're responsible. I ended up going back and forth with them. I had to file some complaints on them. I had to hold myself up, or hold them accountable until they finally paid their water bill. I'm just saying that to say that's how whack they are as a company. But then when it came down to the heat, man, it was super duper cold, and it got super duper cold down here. Thank God for space heaters. So I had space heaters upstairs. I had a space heater down here, but it's obviously too small. It didn't do much of anything. So I spent 2 weeks pretty much being holed up upstairs. 2 weeks, and they would get somebody out. Whenever they got somebody out, they go up in there and they will fix it. They fixed it the first time. The man didn't tell me what was wrong. The second time, the man tell me it's my circuit breaker and it keeps tripping. It can't handle whatever. He fixes it, but then when he's in his truck, it clocks out again. I go out to the truck, tell him, and it's not easy. It's not easy to get into that space. It's like a between the washing machine, like the washing machine and the wall. It's like this much space, and this guy was probably about 400 pounds, maybe 450. So of course he couldn't get up in there. He had to get on a ladder, get on top of my washing machine, get over there. And once he had fixed it, when I went out to his car and told him he went back out, he looked at me. He said, I'm just gonna put in another work order and they're gonna come out here tomorrow. They'll come out here. He didn't say tomorrow. He said they'll set up another appointment so they can come out and change the breaker. Needless to say, 2 days later, I had to call again because nobody did anything. So anyhow, I don't want to bore you guys with all those details. Beloved Debs, you are awesome. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for kicking it off. And I will say, then I started dealing with the same thing with Xfinity. Today, I feel like I went through deliverance. I kid you not. I had to get rid of Xfinity altogether. I closed out all my services. I went with AT&T. I had to, just a little FYI, I started thinking about the first sign that I should have messed with them folks. Remember I told y'all the story about the cable guy, the crazy cable guy when he was installing my service. It's been hell ever since. It's been hell ever since. So I canceled my service. I went with AT&T, but I've spent the last 2 weeks on the phone pretty much every day, hours on end with AT&T or calling the company with, trying to get the stuff taken care of in my house. I've been on the phone doing appointments, all of that stuff. Anywho, I don't want to bore you with all that. That's just my small talk as you guys come into the room. But that is to say that I've been going through it for the last 2 weeks. It was really frustrating, really uncomfortable. However, I counted a blessing to suffer for his name's sake. And honestly, it was just annoying. It wasn't something that was breaking me. I wasn't breaking down or nothing like that. But it was something that I considered to be incredibly annoying. There's nothing like being uncomfortable in your own house. Right? I'm not fooling with Xfinity no more. I'm telling you, when I say it feels like I'm talking to demons, literally, it feels like I called into hell. It feels like I called into hell. Everything is crazy when dealing with Xfinity. So I moved over to AT&T. I heard it's good over there. I turned in Xfinity's equipment today. I had to call them again. I'm like, crap, I got to be on the phone with them. Thankfully, I wasn't on the phone for a long time. I was able to send back a whole lot of stuff today, and that's that. All right, I need a favor from you guys. Thank you so much for every last one of you who've been praying for me. I truly wholeheartedly appreciate you. I want to go ahead and get into this message, and this is something that was on my heart. Initially, my plan was I was going to come out the other day. I was going to come out Sunday, and I had everything. Me not coming out Sunday, I do apologize. My house was blasting cold on Sunday. The guy came out and fixed my heat again. He did the thing Saturday. No, he came Saturday. And he just turned the circuit breaker on, even though he knew it needed a breaker. He came late. I was the last one on his list. It was dark out when he came. All he did was reset the circuit breaker and told me, well, if it goes out again, which we knew was going to go out again, he said, just call me tomorrow and I'll come back out and I'll put your breaker in tomorrow. Lies, I tell you. The next day, that night, he came about 7 something. He left about 8 something. By 10 o'clock, it was off again and my house was cold. And I waited till the next day on my way to church and I called him. He hit the hang up. He sent me the voicemail real quick. And then he put it in the system. I ended up getting a text message saying they were going to be out the next day, that Monday. So I had to spend Sunday in the cold. So when I came home from church, I did not sit downstairs because it was too cold. That's the reason I did not go live. I want to apologize, but that's not what we're here for. You're here to talk about marriage. I'm talking to those of you who are believing God for a kingdom spouse. Those of you who are believing God that he's going to do it this year or that he's going to do it soon. I want to give you a realistic view of what it is that you need to do, to get. I've noticed that God is using so many people to help prepare you for marriage. And I want to make sure that I'm giving you whatever he gives me as well, so that you can make sure that you are prepared. If you know somebody who's believing God for their kingdom spouse, be sure to send them this message. Be sure to send them this message. I'm saying this with my heart and I'm saying this with passion. Be sure to send them this message. Make sure you share this or what have you. And also do me one simple favor. The thing I would love to ask you guys to do is to hit the like button or the love button. If you're on Facebook, hit it right now. Sister Rochelle, you're awesome. Thank you. God bless you. Beautiful. Hit that love button right now, real quick. Hit the like, hit the love button right now, real quick. And I also want to make sure, do me a favor, like it, share it. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Let's get into this. I'm going to give you 5 things that God gave me about marriage, and then I'm going to give you 23 things that you need to do to prepare. 23 things that you need to do to prepare. I want to go on record saying this: marriage is beautiful. And this is coming from somebody who got married twice to the wrong people because I was the wrong person. All right. When you're the wrong person, when you are not operating in your assignment, when you're not operating in the fullness of your identity, when you're not chasing God, you will be the wrong person. Consequently, you will attract the wrong people. So you can't necessarily blame them for being the wrong people when you're the wrong person. I pray that today you allow me to offend, and you allow me to readjust your spine. You allow me to prepare you. And because I do believe wholeheartedly that if you take this message and you run with it, you take this to heart and you run with it, you pray about it, you do what you got to do. I believe that you will be found a lot sooner than you think you will be found, or you will find your kingdom spouse and the men of God. Because I happen to believe that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. I believe that things will be a lot easier for you. I believe that things won't be as hard. But again, I want to go on record before I get into this. Marriage is beautiful. This is coming from somebody that was twice married. Um, Even within the context of being the wrong person, married to the wrong people, there were so many spots in marriage. I got a chance to see how beautiful marriage could be. Like there were so many spots in there that I got to really enjoy in marriage, which is why I was so quick to run and jump into another marriage because I was young, naive, and I told myself that it was him, it was the other guy, which he dealt the final blow to the marriage. He dealt the fatal blow to the marriage because he had a problem with cheating. Not only did he have a problem with cheating, he was abusive, what have you. So I told myself that he was the full problem. Realistically speaking, just because somebody's problems are bigger than your own doesn't mean that they are the only reason that your marriage didn't work, your relationship didn't work. You got to practice taking accountability. This is one of the things that I've seen a lot of people are messing up today. Is you got too many people that are pointing the fingers of blame. You got too many people that are sitting around talking about he did this to me, and that's why my marriage broke up with him, and then that person did that to me. One thing that you're doing and one thing you're using to not take accountability is you are overusing the word narcissist. You are overusing the word narcissist. Because at the end of the day, yeah, are narcissists out there? Yes. Are they out here in bulk looking for people? Yes. Satan goes about seeking whom he may devour. The problem is he's seeking whom he may devour, which means he has a measure of permission. That means that you are out the will of God. He can't devour anybody, or he can't devour everybody. If he finds you on his menu, it's because you placed yourself there. I got to offend you today. If he finds you on his menu, it's because you placed yourself there. You have exalted yourself as God, as Lord over your own life. You do what you want to do and how you want to do it and when you want to do it. Consequently, you found yourself in the lap of the narcissist. Consequently, you found yourself sitting up there going through all the crazy crap that you've gone through. It had nothing to do with just you being anointed. Narcissists are attracted to anointed people, period, point blank. Let's just keep it real. But they can't access anointed people who are in the will of God. They can get our phone numbers, right? They can maybe even get our attention. They can go on a date with us, but they're not going to get too far, because it is my experience in serving God. It's my experience when I got fully surrendered to God, that God will tell you what you need to know. And you couldn't call me a lie if you wanted to. God will tell you what you need to know when you need to know it. God will give you a word of knowledge while you are on the phone with that booger bat. You hear me? God will tell you what to ask. God will tell you what to say. God will make sure that you don't go outside of his will. But your problem is, many of you, God has given you a way of escape. You refuse to listen. You refuse to listen. Because what you're looking at, and let me tell you the trick of the enemy, is that sometimes you'll come across somebody and they are darn near perfect. See, let me show you the trick of the enemy. If I go out here and I meet a man and he ain't nothing what I want, but he got like maybe 15% I feel like I can work with. Then I go out there, I get rid of him and I meet somebody else. And, he got about the same measure of qualities that I feel. And so I started thinking maybe that's just a standard. It's like every guy you meet is not where he needs to be. What happens is you subconsciously set a standard of settling. You subconsciously tell yourself, well, at the end of the day, I guess this is just how it is right now. What the enemy does is he will get you acclimated with, I guess. He'll get you acclimated with, I guess will work out. That way, when he send you somebody that seems to check a lot of different boxes, you will ignore all of the red flags because you'll look and say, man, I haven't had a man that I felt this good about in years. Please tell me if I'm lying. I haven't had a man that I felt this good about in a long time. Or I haven't had a woman that I felt this good about in a long time. He looked good. He got a career. Maybe he go to church. Whatever it is, you sitting up there, you like, but I know he struggled with fornication. I know he struggled with anger. But every other box he checks. Every other box he checks. So then you tell yourself, this one is one in a million, I think, because every other dude that I've entertained, they haven't had as much going for them as he has going for him. And at the same time, dude into me. He is straight into me. Bump all that other stuff. These other guys, they don't know what they want. They send up, no, this guy's into me. I'm talking about his head, his attention. Everything is just focused on me. Ain't that a good feeling? It is such a good feeling. And you get caught up and then you start to rebuke yourself. I said this, I told this to a student one time because, she was, actively looking for her husband, actively wanting to be married. And she had placed herself on a dating site and all this other stuff. Of course, you guys know how I feel about that. But she had told me, she reached out to me. She had told me that she was going on a date. She was like, I want to be accountable. I'm going on a date and all this other stuff. And I asked her about it. I'm like, okay, cool. So tell me. And I said, well, keep me posted. So she inboxes me the next day and she says, well, I went on a date and she said, Mentor, let me tell you, I'm starting to think that I'm wanting too much. My list is too long. I'm starting to think this, and that. And the way she said it, I don't remember how she said it, but the way she said it made it seem like it sounded like she was right. It sounded like she was right. She was like, I think that, we're all imperfect or what have you. I think I may have given myself. And she said, I think that I said, lower your standards. And I said, don't lower your standards just because they're working. Somebody gonna catch that. Somebody gonna catch that. I said, do not lower your standards just because they're working. I need somebody to hear me. The more active you are in the search, the more disappointment you're gonna deal with. This is why, for me as a woman, I'm just actively chasing God. The more active you are, because I know He ain't gonna disappoint. The more active you are in trying to be found, the more active you are, like if you get on, the more disappointment you got to deal with. If you're going out here on dates and every time a guy wants your phone number, you give it to him, you're going to deal with a lot of disappointment, which will lead to you having to deal with a lot of healing, which will lead to delays because here's the lie. A lot of times we think that, well, I have a greater chance if I'm not like Tiffany. See, she's not dating anybody. She's just sitting up over there typing and writing books. And while Sister Tiffany, that's great and that's wonderful and that's amazing. And I applaud you. You'll definitely be successful. But I'll be married because I'm actively, faith without works is dead, isn't it? I'm putting myself out there. I'm going outside. I'm sitting up here. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I want to be found. And I want you to hear me. You will. You will. And you're going to wish you hadn't. Because my assignment isn't to be found. Okay. My assignment is not to be found. My assignment is not to be found. I know you're waiting on me to finish this off because you're still confused at what I'm about to say. My assignment is to chase God. That's it. He says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. He didn't say I had to add them to me. He didn't say that I needed to put on an extra layer of eyeliner. He didn't say that I needed to come out here and go out here and chisel my body. While I wholeheartedly believe in getting yourself together physically, mentally, morally, spiritually, emotionally. I believe in getting yourself together. I believe in the art of preparation. I don't believe that I have to go out here and get myself a push-up bra for my husband to come. Now I can get a man. And I don't know if any of you can testify to this, but even in my jolly state, it's not hard to get a man. No, it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. It's not hard to get a man. But the thing that you have to understand, because some of you are still stuck in wanting to get a man, there's a difference between a man and a husband. There's a difference between a wife and a woman. Not every man is marriage material. Not every woman is marriage material. So my assignment isn't to go out there and stack up the girls, right? And go out there and sit on a date and be sitting up there talking about some. So tell me a little bit of something about yourself. I could have been writing a book. I could have been working on a video. I could have been out here talking to y'all rather than me sitting there wasting my time. I'm going to tell you, and I got to get into this list. You know when you're ready, when you start valuing your time. I told y'all, if you don't want to be offended, if you're easily offended, let me say that, you got to get out of here tonight. If you easily offended, I'm giving you, go ahead and close out. If you want the truth, so help you God. If you want the truth because you know the truth will set you free, listen to this. Post it up on your page. Get somebody else free. My assignment isn't to sit there and waste my time. The more healed you become, the more valuable your time becomes to you. The more healed you become, the more intentional you will become about valuing your time. So I'm going to give you the 5 things that the Lord gave me to give to you guys, and then we're going to go into some instructions, some nuggets, instructions, and all that for you to do. And this is going to help those of you who say, I am ready for marriage. All right. Or, excuse me, those of you who believe that you are ready for marriage. Because not everybody who believes they're ready for marriage is ready for marriage. And by the time I'm done with this extensive list, you will know if you're ready or not. Give me a second. All right. Number 1, marriage is multidimensional. Marriage is multidimensional. If you haven't mastered your humanity, you are not ready yet. Marriage is multidimensional. That means there's levels to it. There's levels to it. There are too many people that have mastered the lower level in their lives. They have not mastered growing while being alone. And so they're still at the bottom. And I've drawn it out before. I always see the picture when God wants me to draw. I always see the picture. Sister Bridget, you're awesome. Thank you. God bless you. Beautiful. I always see the picture. And I've drawn this out before. I maybe need to just get me a diagram and just have it. Okay. All right. Marriage is multidimensional. We all start here. Every last one of us, we start here. We start here. And when I say here, I'm talking about in thought. I'm talking about this is the common area. This is where you find the most common sense. This is where you find your street smarts. This is where you are more eligible and more attractive to the majority of people. This is where you're more eligible and more attractive to the majority of people down here because you can relate to most people. The things that you say, most people can relate to you, right? This is down here. Down here, what if I call this? This is a place where everybody is in an orgy. Everybody humping everybody. And one of my theories is this. I said it would be interesting, and this is just a thought I have. It may be a weird thought, but I don't claim to be normal. But I always think to myself, if God created like this big one giant tarp that stretched over continents, and who you're sleeping with, and everybody that they're sleeping with, or they slept with, and then everybody that their folks that they slept with, I believe that you will see half the world on that tarp. If not, I think you will see a third of the world. A third of our planet. I think that you would probably, it could be potentially more than that. I think that if we all felt, if God took us all and threw us all, and that became one big giant bed, and I'm talking to the sexually active people. If God took you and he threw you out there onto that tarp, and the man that you sleeping with or the woman that you sleeping with, and everybody, every last one of your ex-lovers, current lovers, were to be tossed onto that tarp, and everybody that they've been sleeping with, and everybody that those folks been sleeping with, and everybody that those folks been sleeping with, you will see that tarp would just be filled with bodies. It will be filled with bodies. You will come to understand why COVID spread so fast. You will come to understand why COVID spread so fast. We all start here. The objective is to grow. So the problem that we have is that we don't want to grow, we don't want to heal, we get lonely down here, even though we're surrounded by people. We want to get saved down there, but we don't want to break the strongholds, we don't want to break the generational curses. We just want to get down there and we want to find somebody. We just want somebody to be with us on the journey. We just want somebody to come with us, and as we journey. I don't know if y'all know deliverance is ugly. Elevation can be ugly. As you travel from this dimension to this dimension, there's going to be a lot of you, all that crazy stuff, crying and falling all over the place, manifesting crazy stuff coming out your head and all that. There's a lot of manifestation. In other words, it's better to do that alone than to wait till you get married and then now you want to go through all that deliverance, because then your spouse gets to see you in the worst way. And if you marry somebody while you're down here, chances are they're down here as well. If you marry somebody while you're down here, chances are they're down here or they're in the neighborhood. Now, there's something lower than this, but chances are you're down here and these are the reprobate minds that are under here. But chances are you will find yourself with somebody. So the objective is to ascend dimensionally. So when I get here, then there are certain men that are already here that are not interested in the women down here. My competition, I don't have to worry about the women at the bottom. I don't have to worry. And please don't think financially. When I say ascend, I'm talking about understanding. I'm talking about wisdom. I'm talking about revelation. I'm talking about fruits of the Holy Spirit. I'm talking about self-control. I'm talking about closeness and proximity to the heart of God. I'm talking about that. So as you ascend, God sits up and your world gets smaller while your mind gets bigger. As you ascend, then you go here. When you get to world number 3, when you get to dimension number 3, one of the problems that typically happens is you start thinking that you've done something wrong. I'm ministering to somebody. I may not be ministering to everybody, but you start thinking that you've done something wrong because men don't be checking for you like that no more, or women not checking for you like that. Down here, you was the stuff. Okay, you was the bomb diggity fresh and down here. Down here, you were it. But now, when you then ascended, and 4, you just said, I'm growing and stuff like that. I've been healing and all that. You get to 3, you start noticing that, man, I can walk into a room, ain't nobody checking for me. You start thinking, am I getting ugly? Am I no longer attractive? You start thinking all types of crazy stuff in your mind because you start thinking there's got to be something going on with me. Because when I used to go to the mall, I would come out the mall having been catcalled probably 6, 7 times. Now I went to the mall, I ain't got catcalled out one time. A whole herd of dudes passed me by, and I could tell they walking through the mall and they searching, but they didn't catcall me one time. You know what ended up happening? Not only did they not catcall me, somebody gonna hear this. They gave me respect. I ain't used to that. I'm talking to some of y'all because you're so used to guys disrespecting you. You're so used to them talking about some dang girl, but they pass by you and say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?" Ain't that an odd feeling? When all of a sudden you go from being the it thing, that all of a sudden you getting respect. All of a sudden, they're no longer, you like, okay, maybe I'm getting older. Let me see if I can pick my face up. Let me see what I can fix so I can change that. That's your character. That's your character. You're now getting respect, whereas you didn't get respect at first. All right, let's go ahead and get back into this. But you are a multi-dimensional creature. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because marriage is also multi-dimensional. So you have to master managing yourself and ascending individually so that by the time you get married, you guys can ascend, matrimonially. So he needs to be ascended on his own. You need to ascended on your own. And that has everything to do with your relationship with God, self-awareness, self-control, all of that beautiful stuff. You need to be to have ascended. Part of being ascended, or part of growing, part of healing, is that you genuinely get to a space where you don't want to argue. You genuinely get to a space Where at the end of the day, I'm not trying to sit up here and argue with nobody. At the end of the day, I respect your choice. I respect your decision. I respect your preference and all that. Just keep me informed. That's it. That's it. And when you get to that space, you disqualify. I'm going to say this: you disqualify maybe 25 to 40% of the people that will potentially come after you. Because some people don't know how to date or be married without arguing. I told you I'm gonna keep it real. Some people don't know how to be married. They think that arguing and yelling at somebody and cussing somebody out, then making up is normal. That's witchcraft. Okay. They think that's normal. You know what? I'm gonna take you through hell. I'm gonna torture you and all that. Then I'm gonna turn around and say sorry. And what have you? Then we gonna turn around and we gonna make up in the bedroom. What have you? Then I'm gonna go back and do that crazy crap again. And then we're gonna turn around and sorry. And then we're gonna keep going. The devil is a cock out lie. Number two, marriage is multi-directional. Marriage is multi-directional. If you only know how to move forward, you're not marriage ready. So I'm just moving forward. I'm just moving on. God said, remember, multi-directional means that if I need to stay here and resolve a problem, I will. If I only know how to feel, if I only know how to move forward, then my problem will be is discarding people. Am I making sense? I want to make sense today. I don't want to come on here and not make sense because you got too many people that they've mastered. Social media got y'all jacked up on these streets. They've mastered sitting here talking about some shoot. You do that to me, you a goner, okay? You a goner, Leviathan, covenant breaking spirit. They've only mastered how to. Okay, you made me mad, so oops, you gone. Oops, you gone. And it's delusion that you're gonna come in contact with the person and he's gonna be perfect and he gonna know how to handle you. It is a lie from the pit, the butt crack, and the underarms of hell. Realistically speaking, you don't qualify for marriage, you don't qualify to be in business, you don't qualify to build a thing if you're not a problem solver, if you're not a solutionist. If the only thing that you can do, okay, I'm building my company. I'm still building. I got my office space down in Austell, and I think about sometimes that it's another office space that's empty over there, and I've been thinking heavily about getting that particular space. Right? I don't know what I use it for, but I have thought heavily about potentially getting that space. I'm a builder. That is the thing that's in me. My sister in Christ, she took me on a tour of the space. She had a key or what have you. She knew how to get into the space. I'll say that. And so we took a tour of it the other day. We went down to my office, and she has an office in the same building. We took a tour of the space. And the thing about it is, we're taking a tour, and I'm just like, this is cool. I'm trying to get some ideas as to what I would potentially use that space for. It's a pretty nice space, or what have you. I understand being an entrepreneur that I can get that space and it don't do good at all. I understand that I can build out an idea and it fails. That's what business people know. We understand that it's all about learning from your mistakes. It's not about having a mistakeless life. It's not about having a life that's filled with excitement or what have you. If I thought like that, I wouldn't be where I am in the world of business today. I wouldn't be where I am in the world of business today because I've started businesses and they failed. I'm gonna give you the reality check about business. I've started businesses and they failed. I've had ideas that have failed. I've had ideas that I have not yet executed. I have tried things out. I have lost tens and thousands, if not hundreds and thousands of dollars on ideas. That is the reality of business. That is the reality of business. It's also the reality of marriage. Is that you don't get to enjoy a win if you can't stand a loss. Somebody gonna look at me and somebody gonna say amen. Somebody gonna look and they gonna look at me and they gonna feel me and they gonna say amen. You don't get to enjoy a victory with me if you can't be around me in my season of loss. If I've lost and you just sat up there and said, anywho, girl, God is calling me to a season by myself. You're gonna have to stay by yourself. Because I understand that failing is not failing, it is simply a part of success. Somebody put that in the chat. Failing is a part of success. You cannot have success without failing. You won't even respect success without failing. You won't even respect. So marriage is multidimensional, or we talked about number one, marriage is multidimensional. It is also multidirectional. Sometimes we're gonna go in directions, we're gonna do things that we never planned on doing. If you already have an idea as to where it's going to go, and you think for 1 second that it has to go there, otherwise you don't want to be married no more, or you're gonna throw 567 temper tantrum to the third degree, you don't deserve marriage. Because at the end of the day, I can sit here just like my life, and I'm gonna move on from here. I promise you. Just like my life don't look nothing like I planned it. That's how. This is why you got to walk with God before you even think about marriage. My life don't look nothing like I planned it. My life is going in the direction that is beautiful. I thank God for everything He's doing in my life. But this ain't the direction I planned. But I had to be open enough and trust God enough to follow His lead, to understand that hey, I can be in control if I want to. If I put my hands on the wheel, God will remove His hands. But no, I'm not trying to do that. I've done that too many times. I'm trying to let God take me where He's planned for me, rather than me exalting myself above Him. Marriage, you will typically go in directions you didn't plan. I just my students, my 2.0 class. So I have Vision Prep University. I have 1.0. And then once you graduate from 1.0, if you stay in the program, you can go over to 2.0. 2.0, I say, I no longer have your ears, I have your hands. Okay. 3.0, I have your heart. So we go all the way up to 3.0. If you go all the way to 3.0, you would never have to pay for mentorship with me again. You get total mentorship for free. So the 2.0 class, I have their hands. Yesterday, I was showing them how to create a children's book, and I gave them a couple of days to do it. I gave them a couple of days to do it. Part of failing, and that's one of the things, they dealing with the learning curve. They dealing with, and they created books. I've had them create books and stuff like that before. But a lot of times they have to deal with the learning curve. And one thing I'm trying to get them to understand is that hey, part of it is failing. I had them on Zoom camera, and they were doing their assignment, and they're typing in the chat that whatever issue they have, and it's not doing this, it's not doing that. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Try this. It's try that. The thing that I'm trying to say to you is that there is an answer out there if you look for it. And in creating children's book, my point was in creating children's book, I told them, and this is just a free lesson for you guys. And I'm gonna do a children's book class real soon, but I ain't charging no $300. So get your mind ready. If I teach you how to do a children's book, I can have you knock it out in 24 hours. I can have you knock it out, and I can turn you into a children's book author, right? And so that means that I'm gonna have to charge for that. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the chat, and I will definitely do something like that. But like I said, it ain't gonna be nothing cheap. So don't nobody come up in here with no $39.99 mindset. Don't come in here with $199 mindset. Okay, so long story short, I've been teaching them how to create children's books. And one of the things that I told them, you let the artwork minister to you. Like you don't control the art. You can have a direction that you want your book to go in. It's the same thing with every book. You can have a direction that you want your book to go in, but you have to let the book sometimes minister to you. You have to let the Lord lead you. And a lot of times when it comes down to creating children's books and things like that, you will find yourself going in a direction that you didn't plan to go in. And you have to be free enough to flow. You got to be free enough to flow. You got to be free enough to, if I got 3 children's books, maybe 4 that are out there right now. And I've hired artists to do the artwork and stuff like that. And they did what I told them, but it goes through their interpretation, right? It's the same thing when God gives you a word, it has to go through your interpretation, it has to go through your filters or what have you. So by the time it goes through you and you're prophesying it to somebody else, or you're drawing it out on paper, or you're building it out, it's not going to look the way that God wanted it to look. It'll have the shape, the form, it'll have some things that God wanted, but it's going through your filters. It's going to pick up what's in your filters as it passes through. So when it comes down to a book, whenever I'm giving an interpretation, if I tell an artist, I say, hey, I want a man, and I want him to be bow-legged, and I want him to be standing on the Mississippi River, and I want him to be on his tiptoes just above the water. I want his foot to touch the water and what have you. And I want a crowd standing off on the shore. And I want them to be on awe and all this other stuff. And I want him to be all arrogant. But then I want a second picture, because this is going to be for a children's book, or this is going to be for, another book. I also want something on the next slide where you're going to have somebody under the water with some boards holding it up. So you're going to see under the water, you're going to see his toes just above the water. I have to go through that person's interpretation. I'll give you this. I asked an artist to draw, because I've been teaching this for years, draw a man with multiple faces. Like, I want him to look like a spinning rack, because we're multifaceted people. And I wanted to use that. I wanted that to be in my book, one of my books. Draw a man with multiple faces. He didn't execute it the way I wanted him to execute it. He executed, all he did was drew a man looking forward. He put a face on the side, a face on the side. And he put a spinning wheel thing on the bottom. He didn't do just this spinning wheel. He didn't see what was in my head. I'm saying this to say that when it comes down to marriage, when it comes down to building anything, it's got to go through your filters. It's got to go through your spouse's filters. It's not going to look the way you want it to look. And if you are gung-ho on what it is that you plan, you won't do it. Same thing when it comes down to children's book. Right. Yeah, all my children's books are Christian. Just type Tiffany Buckner on Amazon.com. But I told him, when it comes down to children's book, when that man drew that picture out, it didn't look like I wanted it to look. Do you think I went back and said, go back and do it again? Here we go. Give me a second, guys. Okay. Here you go. Here you go. Come here. Amazon. I'm so sorry. I always brag about not having a man to complain about my Amazon packages. I got somebody to complain. Every time Amazon or somebody's trying to deliver something, the chime goes off and Milo goes berserk. All right. So I'm saying that to say, when I hired the guy, it didn't look the way. And so typically when I hire an artist to draw something out, I don't get mad at them and make them go back to the drawing board. I know that I'm dealing with filters. Sometimes I may come back if I'm dealing with an artist that say, hey, this is not exactly what you're looking for, to let me know. I may come back and say, it does look there, but I kind of wanted the faces to be like in sync. I wanted to be a face here and a face here and a face. I wanted to be all the way around or what have you. I may come back, but a lot of times I understand I'm dealing with people's filters. And at the same time, I know they did the best with what they knew. So I'll give them grace, and I'll give them a 5-star review because they put effort in. I'll give them a tip because they put effort in, and then I'll go somewhere else. I may use it, and if I do use it, I may change it up. I may change up the wording, right? If it's a children's book, I'll change up the wording to fit the imagery. And hear me, I've written better books by doing that because I'm not locked in. I'm not married to the original idea. I'm free to flow. All right. So marriage is multidimensional. That means you don't know which direction it's going to go in. It may not be that you go and move to another country and y'all end up with a big house in the other country and you have this big 5-story home and all of those beautiful things. You may end up with a dude that don't want all that. You may end up with somebody that is not looking into all that. So you have to have a free enough mind to understand that it may not go in the direction that you want it to go in. Number 3, marriage is manageable, but the people in the union are responsible for managing themselves. Marriage is easy. I know we say marriage is hard. It's not. Marriage is hard when you haven't learned to manage yourself and you marry somebody that hasn't learned to manage themselves. Can we keep it plain? Can we keep it real? Can we keep it uncute? Because I don't want it to be cute. I want it to be ugly. I want the ugly truth to come out. Marriage is manageable. You're talking to somebody that I served 12 years in marriage, 12 to 13 years in marriage. All right, I served time. And in that time, one thing I learned was that marriage is actually really beautiful. It's just the people. Linda Panda, thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Be sure to leave me a review. Marriage is manageable. The problem is the people in it. The biggest problem in marriage is that you always almost have somebody who can't be satisfied. You almost always have somebody in there that want to live life the way they want it. They want to live life like a single. That's what causes the problems in most marriages. I have yet to see a marriage that didn't have problems, that didn't involve an individual wanting to remain an individual, not wanting to be married. They're fighting for their individualism. This is why it's important to get into ministry, get into your assignment first, because God will kill the individual. Did y'all hear what I just said? This is why it's important to get into your destiny first and get into your assignment first, because God will address the individual. He'll make you give up your life. When you get married, your spouses want you to give up your life. You think I want a man? Y'all can keep that Hollywood bullcrap if y'all can do that if you want to. That ain't my style. You think I want a man talking about he's finna go to the bar tonight with his friends? No. I'm not gonna even get on this camera and pretend. I'm not gonna even get on this camera and pretend. I don't want no man that wants to stay up late going into a bar drinking. What kind of crap is that? Y'all trying to make that stuff normal and cute. No, I don't want no man that has friends who don't have self-control, that are out there cheating, who like to drink, who are into gambling, who don't respect women. I don't want that type of man. I don't want the man that comes in and says, babe, I'm gonna be leaving out tomorrow. I'm gonna be flying to Massachusetts for the next 3 days. You didn't think that was good to bring that by me first? Ask me if I want to go. You didn't think that was something we had to communicate? You just gonna come tell me what you're gonna do? That's what's normalized today. So marriage is manageable, but the problem is the people in it. Number 4, marriage is spiritual before it is natural. Marriage is spiritual before it is natural. Marriage is spiritual before it is natural. If you're not yet married to God, you are not qualified to marry one of his children. It's spiritual. It's spiritual. If you don't believe me, get married. You're going to see how spiritual it is. When your spouse needs deliverance, you're going to see how spiritual it is. When your spouse coming home just mad and super sensitive about everything, and that child is manifesting all over the place, and you didn't do your due diligence and learn how to cast out demons. Give me popcorn. Turn your cameras on in your house, because I don't like going outside too much. And give me access to your cameras. It's spiritual. That means first I marry God, he marries God, and then once we're married to God, we meet one another in him. Everything that we do is about him, not us. It's not marriage. The problem, the reason that you may have been waiting a long time is that you're doing marriage the American way. You think marriage to this day, you still think it's about you with your cute self. With your cute self, you still think it's about you. You still think it's about getting your eyebrows perfectly threaded or tattooed on. You still think it's about, making sure that your edges are lined up straight, that, you still think it's about a BBL. You still think it's about how you put it down in the bedroom and what you know in the kitchen. You still think it's about making sure that you look the best and get your push-up bras. You still think it's about your flesh. You still think it's about your flesh. And then you turn around and you master all the things fleshly, all things natural. And you get up in that baby and find out that the war is not against flesh and blood, but it's against the powers and the principalities and the rulers of this dark world and spiritual wickedness in high places. You get up in there and you start finding out, why he acting like that? I've done enough marriage counseling over the years to know that most marriages are destroyed because neither one of them know how to cast out demons. They ain't even learned master casting out demons out of themselves. They haven't even learned how to recognize when they need deliverance. So they out there, they in the house fighting each other while the devil's sitting there like, woo! They too busy trying to control each other, not realizing that the enemy then got in y'all house. And just as easy as he got in, you can get him out. But y'all will fight for 3 weeks, 7 weeks, 10 weeks, a whole year, divorce and all that up, rather than casting a demon out. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. Marriage is spiritual before it's natural. But it comes to you surrendering yourself wholeheartedly to God. before you try to go out there and marry one of his children, because God ain't gonna give you one of his children when you're not surrendered to him. Last one on this particular list: marriage is not for the quitter. Marriage. I'm sorry. I feel this one. I feel this one because I already know that we're gonna have two sign offs in the middle finger. It's not for the quitter. If you go to a church and you get offended and you quit, if you have a friendship and you get mad and you quit, if every time you get mad, if your feelings matter more than your covenants, now I'm not talking about a situation where you're being abused. I'm not talking about that. So don't misunderstand me, because I know somebody come in my comment section, they say the most. They'll say the most while saying the least. I'm saying, if you can't join something and persevere through you how you feel, your feelings are your God. And any man or woman who makes their emotions their God are not fun to be married to. Prove me wrong. You can't. You can't. If your feelings, how you feel, is more important than God, or more important than his, I mean, God knows my heart. Yeah, I know I sinned against God and I was sleeping with this man, but girl, I was just so in love with him. Oh, so your feelings matter. Your feelings matter more than God. Your feelings matter more than the word. Then when you get in marriage, you're going to find out your feelings matter more than your husband. Or your feelings matter more than your wife. You'll find out that your feelings matter. And so, because you're always trying to chase a feeling. And when you're no longer getting the butterflies in your stomach, because there are too many people out here, they're married to the butterflies. They're married to the dopamine. They're married to the serotonin. They're married to the oxytocin. But when that stuff go away, when that stuff go away, I don't even know if I want to be married no more. And it be same people saying, I don't know why I'm a narcissist magnet. Did you just hear yourself? You don't know how to persevere. Your feelings are killed through your pursuit of God. Just so you guys know, God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to your feelings. God will require you to give up how you feel. God will come against you. He will require you to lay your convenience on the altar. He will require you to lay all of those things on the altar of your assignment. And once you start doing that, trust me, you will do things that inconvenience you, stuff that you don't feel like doing. You will get up and go to church more than most people. You'll get up and serve. You'll get up, you'll do ministry more than most people. You'll sit up there, you'll be more surrendered to God. You'll spend time in prayer. All that stuff that feels like an inconvenience will start becoming a pleasure and a joy. But until you're there, don't give somebody the headache of sharing your last name with them. Y'all have matching last name, but your heart don't match. All right. I want to give you some words, nuggets to chew on. These are going to be instructions. I told you guys before it's going to get it. I told y'all I love y'all. But the word is offensive. The word will set you free and bring joy and peace to your life, but it's going to cut you first. It's no different than like if you have surgery to fix an issue that's been causing you pain. It's going to hurt a little bit more first, right? It's going to be cut. There's going to be surgery. There's going to be a whole lot of stuff. There's going to be a healing process. But in the end, you get to learn, you get to enjoy the long-term benefits of the short-term snip. So this is what we're doing right now. We're doing a short-term click, click, click. So anyhow, do me a favor. Be sure to like and share if you're just coming in here. Like I said, send this to every friend of yours who want to be married. Every person that you know who is thinking about getting married or what have you, because this is absolutely necessary for you to get married and to stay married. All right. So here are some instructions or more nuggets that you on, whichever you prefer. Number one, somebody says it's about to get offensive. Somebody says it's about to get offensive. Just write it in the chat. It's about to get offensive. It's about to get offensive. Not all of them, but there's some of them that's going to really cut. Number one, concubines can't marry because they are already the property of someone else. Concubines cannot marry because they are already the property of someone else. Some of you have been serving as concubines. And you say, Tiffany, what is a concubine? Somebody's hoe. And this ain't just to the women, this to the men too. You're already the property of somebody else. Somebody still got your phone up. They can call you and they can get it whenever they want to. Somebody still got your heart. Concubines can't marry. They didn't moved on with their life. They with somebody else. They doing their thing or what have you. But they still got you on speed dial. They still got you on park. They still got you on surrender. They still got you sitting up over there, lay away on yourself, just pining away, fossilizing yourself, waiting on them to call you back, waiting on them to choose you. Concubines can't marry because they're already married. Now, just so you get a little understanding of a concubine, back in the biblical days, and not just in the biblical days, they did this. I don't know if they're still doing that in modern day China, but I know some parts of China for a long time they were still doing that. But back in the biblical days, a king, for example, he would have one queen. He was only allowed, in most cases, to have one queen. He could have wives, and he could have concubines. So you say, Tiffany, what's the difference? The queen was the one that sat on the throne with him. She was the one that she could give rules or orders or what have you. She had to go through the king in most cases, the queen wasn't necessarily seen on the throne with her husband unless he summoned her or what have you. But that's another message. But she was considered, like, the whole dynasty, the whole kingdom knew who she was. She got the same measure of respect, or she was due the same measure of respect that he was. And then there was the wives. So a wife typically was, they had respectable fathers. So the king had to go through a process to get with them. And so it wasn't considered, they weren't considered concubines because they weren't slaves of the king. They weren't property of the king, even though they were kind of still kind of like property, but they had more rights than a concubine. A concubine, on the other hand, typically her parents were broke. Maybe she was fatherless or something was going on, but for whatever reason, the king, he didn't necessarily choose her. He got her by default. So he got her because she spread eagle for him. Going back, and this is not a Jewish thing. I mean, it was something that happened with the Jews, but I think the better example was what happened with King Ahasuerus, also known as King Xerxes, and Queen Esther. So, and at this time, of course, he was a pagan king, but the things that they did mirrored Jewish tradition, mirrored the way that Jews did their things. So when King Ahasuerus summoned the women to come to his castle, they brought all those women in the room. Now he was looking for a queen, right? He was looking for somebody to replace Vashti. Those women would have to, they would go through this process. First, he had to choose out of the bunch. So they bought all these women. So he had to choose so many out of the bunch. The rest of them went home. After he chose, the ones he chose, they had to stay and they had to be with him for the rest of their lives or the rest of his life, whichever one clocked out first. But while they were sitting up in there, they would have one night with the king. They would have to be prepared for the king, and then on their night, they would go up in there. The eunuch would come and say, "Hey, listen, come on, let's go." They'll take them up in there. Of course, they were told ahead of time. They'll go up in there, and the king would do whatever he wanted to do with them. They'll go into the room. They'll go into the king's chambers, and the king would either sleep with them. We don't necessarily know what happened. The majority of the time, we know that the king was hitting that. But once the king was done, they could no longer go back to the room that they were sleeping in. They had to go to the concubine's quarters until he made a decision. That means that they were property of the king. He could sleep with them whenever he wanted to sleep with them. The king could go years without sleeping with them. The king can have them and never sleep with them again, but they weren't allowed to sleep with any other man. They weren't allowed to move on or what have you. As a matter of fact, they were surrounded by eunuchs. And so the king, whenever he got Esther in the room, he decided, hey, I like this woman. He ends up after that putting a crown on Esther. He chose her to be his wife in place of Vashti. Every other woman was a concubine. Every other woman. And I always give this example. A king, he can go out on his deck one day, right? He just wants to enjoy some fresh air, look at the birds and all the wildlife or what have you. He goes out on the deck and he got his crew with him. He looks out there and he sees all of his concubines running around. Let's say if you were one of them. Y'all out there playing some type of game. You're kicking some pig leather ball around or what have you, but you're having a good time. And the king happens to look up and he notices you bouncing over there and you looking real good. And he turns to his servant, turns to one of the eunuchs and says, "Who is that?" And they said, "Oh, that's one of your concubines. Her name is Lullaby." And he says, "Lullaby?" They say, "Yeah, that's Lullaby." And he says, "Okay, I want her in my chambers tonight. I want her in my chambers tonight." So that's what they did. The eunuch would come to you and say, "Hey, King Ahasuerus or the king requests your company tonight. So prepare for this hour you will be taken to see the king. So of course you had to go up in there. You had to prepare yourself to go and see the king, because, and that's one of my notes. Preparation or non-preparation is disrespectful. You had to prepare yourself to see the king. If the king took pleasure in you, if you went up in there and the king was like, man, this was a deep conversation, and dang girl, this was so good, this was so memorable. The king will typically remember you, and he may summon you again and again, and you may even become his baby mama at some point. But if he took no pleasure in you, meaning you weren't, there was nothing special about you, he would send you back to the concubine's chambers. Once it was over with, he would probably forget your name. Hear me when I tell you, some of you guys right now to this day have allowed yourself to become the modern day equivalent of a concubine, meaning some man has walked out of your life and he still has access to you. He can still call you. He can still say he want to get back with you. He can still say he want to hang out with you. He can still say whatever, and you will avail yourself to him. And so you're not allowed to be married because you're still the property of somebody else. And I'm going to tell you something about a dude. A dude who's not ready for marriage will usually use the fact that he has access to you to flex, to not just to the people he know, but if you start dating somebody else, he will flex that dude out of your life. He will let that guy know, hey, I can call her whenever I want to. All right, number two. I know somebody going to say, why are you talking to the women? We're going to talk to the men as well. Number two, eunuchs can't marry because they're slaves of free men. Eunuchs, I'm talking to the brothers now. Eunuchs cannot marry because one, they ain't got no, all the same, they're slaves of free men. They're slaves of free men. That means you can help you can help the guy get a woman. You can help do all that stuff, but you can't marry because you're a slave. That means something has you under control, whether it be a female or it be your sexual addiction, whether it be a video game, whatever it is, whatever has eunuched you, you can't marry because you are a slave. You're a slave of a free man. All right, number three. Hell doesn't care about you getting married. Hell just doesn't want you to marry the right person. A free man means there's somebody out there who's not in bondage, or somebody who's not as bound as you. Hell doesn't care about you getting married. Hell doesn't want you to marry the right person. Somebody need to hear that. Everything I'm saying, whether you feel like it's for you or not, somebody needs to hear it. I want you to understand that Satan ain't trying to prevent you from getting married. He don't care nothing about that. The enemy just wants to make sure that you don't marry the right person, because where two or three are gathered in his name, he's in the midst. And a threefold cord is not easily broken. So Satan don't mind you getting married. Say, we think that, oh, if I go out here and I marry a Christian man, that the enemy's going to try to come against us, but we're going to be one together in Christ. No. You can marry a Christian man and still not be with the right one. You can marry a Christian woman and still not be with the right one. Hell doesn't care about you getting married. Hell doesn't want you to marry the right person. One thing I've learned, that when you marry the right one, and I've done this before, and I still got this kind of drawn up in front of me. I drew this out before some time ago. All right, it's still drawn out in front of me. And matter of fact, let me just kind of fresh. Give me a second. All right. Start point, destination. This is your spectrum. When you're chasing God, over here, give me a second. When you're chasing God for the first time in your life, when you fully surrender wholeheartedly to God, when you throw everything away and you say, God, you know what? I put you number one. When you first start off, this is what your journey looks like. Every time you see a scribble like this, that represents you in confusion. You going in cycles and circles, being stuck. You get in the season again stuck. That's what it represents. You'll notice that it's bigger here. That means you spend longer times in seasons. You're going around a whole bunch of confusion or what have you. Typically, confusion is centered around something you're refusing to let go of. Confusion typically centers itself around something you're refusing to let go of. So when you're in the beginning of it, this is when you know your marriage material. See, you start coming through this when you're ready, when you make peace. That line becomes straight. You just start living. Right? Not to say that you don't have problems, not to say you don't have an occasional confusion. It is to say you become intentional and prayerful, and you come to understand that life is life and life happens to us all. And you stop spending too much time worried about stuff that you can't change. You stop spending too much time crying and whining and complaining about stuff that's going to typically work itself out. You start just really moving along. This is when you become marriage ready, when you have less confusion. When you get married to somebody, you want to take the time, or when you start dating somebody, you want to see where they are here. If they got too much drama and confusion going on, if you merge your life with where they are, you see how that you're gonna get caught up in the confusion. Wherever they are on this spectrum, you're gonna get caught up in the confusion. So if they got a baby mama that's acting dumb, if they got that, you're gonna get locked up in the confusion. If you merge your life with it, you're gonna get locked up in the confusion. That's just the way that it's gonna be. Once you get locked up in that confusion, um, you're just in it. The objective is for you to straighten out your life. And like I said, there'll be hiccups, there'll be seasons of delay, seasons of frustration, seasons where you're learning lessons and stuff like that. You want to marry somebody who also has learned how to master problems and not be mastered by problems. You want somebody that you can build forward with. You don't want somebody that every time you look up, y'all in the middle of a fight and y'all can't get past it. That you gotta stop. Like you gotta stop building, you gotta stop doing everything because we gotta stop and deal with this foolishness right now. Now we gotta stop and you, okay, what your problem is. No, see, that ain't what I said. No, see, no. I could have had a V8. You spending too much time with somebody who has not mastered self-control. And now you sitting up over here, y'all having a fight all the time. And so every time God wants to use you, every time God wants to do something, you caught up in some stupid stuff. You caught up in some confusion. You want somebody that is like you in their single seasons, in their times of being individuals. They've worked out all of those kinks so that you guys can flow together. You want to be able to flow. Hey, what you working on? I'm working on a book. What you working on? Over here about to file the paperwork for this business. Okay, let me know if you need me. Let me know if you need me. Okay. How was your day? Okay, babe, you still working? You must be done. Yeah. You always want to hang out when you're done. Yeah. Well, okay. It is 9:19. I'll give you this. How much time do you feel like you need? Man, be with this all night. Can we take a break at 10? You on break at 10? Let's hang out. I don't know about 10, Tiff, because I'm really okay. How about 11? I like okay. If I'm not asleep, let's hang out. Let's hang out at 11. You see how there's no confusion in that. Instead of me saying, so you act like whatever you doing is better than me. Like you just it's fine. No, I'm gonna go to bed. If you, it's fine. Don't nobody want to be married to no mouthy, attitudinal, emotional person. That's too much. I'm saying this because a lot of times to my sisters, y'all be emotional. I mean, you got men out there like that, but it's just too much. It's too many feelings. There's too many feelings. I understand why God called us the weaker vessel. Sometimes we don't even want to deal with each other because we just be having too many feelings. Just too much. It's just too much. All right, you want somebody that you can build for with. Let's go ahead and move on. Number 4, abuse. No, excuse me, a house. It looked like abuse where I wrote it. A house divided cannot stand, even if you are alone in the house. Oh no, here. Okay, let me read this way that it says. A house divided cannot stand, even if you alone are the house that's split. You can put double minded. A house divided cannot stand. A house divided cannot stand. Even if you yourself alone are the house. If you by yourself and you double minded in all your ways, the Bible calls you unstable. A house divided, it will not stand. You got to make peace from within with yourself, make peace with your God before you invite somebody into your world. Like too much estrogen. It'd be just goodness. I always say to my brothers in Christ, I'll tell a man, if a man's married, he like, yeah, my wife. I'll be like, bro, Even us women, we don't be wanting to deal with highly emotional women. We just don't be wanting to deal with it. It's just too much because they too. It's like walking on eggshells, and don't nobody want to do that. So a house divided cannot stand, even if you alone are the house. What am I preaching to you today? Because I want you to make sure that you're not missing the message. I want to make sure that you're not thinking, okay, that's good. Let's move on to the next one. A house divided. If you are divided in yourself, if you don't know how to serve God and just serve God and make God, if you're serving God and serving yourself, if you're serving God and serving the enemy, if you're divided from within, you're dealing with too much confusion, you don't have peace from within, you're not marriage material yet. You'll get there, but you're not yet ready. So a house divided cannot stand. You got to make peace with yourself, right? You got to become one within yourself so that your husband doesn't marry two people or that your wife don't marry two people. Here's what I see all too often. You'll find yourself standing at the altar with two people and you don't even realize you're saying vows to two people. You're saying vows to them and you're saying vows to their demons. And you all in love with the nice person. But when the demons show up, that's when the problem comes. Because the person never made peace with themselves. So you want somebody who has one mind. You want somebody who is healed. You want somebody who knows what they want. You want somebody who is in Christ and chasing Christ. You want somebody who has peace from within. So that way, when you come, they can share that with you. You come across somebody that's double-minded, you can get ready. All right. Number 5, people who don't master self-control often seek to master controlling others. People who don't master self-control will want to control you. Anybody who does not master self-control, a man who don't know how to keep his pink in his pants will try to control you. Prove me wrong. A woman who don't know how to abstain before marriage, don't know how to control her feelings, she gonna rip you to pieces. One pubic hair at a time. People who don't know how to master self-control often master controlling other people. They will try to control everybody else because they can't control themselves. So they want you to make their lives better because whenever you haven't mastered self-control, there's a lot of hell, chaos, and demons that come into your life. And a lot of times what you'll have is these fantasies, and the fantasies are nothing but the appetite of the enemy saying, bring somebody else into this mess that you call your life. It's not nothing but a demon saying, I'm hungry. You ain't got no self-control. I didn't ate your authority up. Bring somebody else in so that I can eat. So then you end up fantasizing about marriage. You end up fantasizing about being in a relationship with somebody. You start fantasizing. That's the time when you become more desperate for marriage, is when you're demonized. And it's because that demons want you to control. And then when you get somebody in your life, then next thing you know, those demons start causing you to panic. Oh, he gonna leave you. She gonna leave you. Demons start causing you to panic. The demons will master controlling you. They master controlling you, and then they'll make you rob the other person of their authority. I'm just telling you the truth. Number 6, let's move on from there. Satan has a pool of men and women who are looking for idol worshipers. Satan has a pool. He has a whole dating site. He has a whole harem of men and women who are looking for lovers, who are looking for people who are outside the will of God. Satan goes about seeking whom he may devour. Satan has a pool of men and women who are looking for idol worshipers. People who don't put God first, people who put how they feel first, people who put their preference first, people who put their plans first. Satan is out there looking for y'all. And you know what? You're not hard to find. You're not hard. And the thing about it is, just like God told us to test the spirit, hear me when I say this, demons test spirits. So a man can, for example, come up and he can get my phone number. And he can call me. And that spirit in him will test to see if I mean what I preach. That spirit in him will test to see if it has company. Like if there's a demon in me that matches it. So he may get me on the phone and let's say about 10, 15, 10, 30. What you doing? What you mean what I'm doing? You know what I'm talking about. That's the spirit of lust. That's the spirit of lust. Do it over there with his hands and his drawers. That's the spirit of lust. And so now he on the phone with me because he got a heart on. Now he on the phone with me talking real low or what have you. That spirit in him is trying to find something in me. Let the enemy says he has no place in you. That spirit in him is looking for the spirit of Delilah, of Jezebel, of lust and obsession and lasciviousness in me. That spirit in him is looking for that. So how I respond is going to determine what my tomorrow look like with that dude. If I respond by saying, what you mean what I'm doing? I'm laying here thinking about you. You thinking about me? What you thinking about? Thinking about you? You gonna play hard on me, right? Ain't nobody playing hard on you. You the one over there her hard. How'd you know? Because I can tell by your voice. If I'm stupid enough like that, I'm gonna get a ping pic. I'm gonna get a text message. It's gonna have a y'all want me to keep it real, keep it raw, I'm gonna tell you the truth. That spirit in him is looking for company, it's looking for what's in me. All right. Satan has a pool of men and women who are looking for idol worshipers. Satan has a pool of men and women who are looking for idol worshipers. Number 7, you can't hump the right person. You can hump the right person right out of your life. You can hump the right person right out of your life. God can send the right person to you. And if y'all don't exercise self-control, you will ruin what God wanted to do. Some of you have dealt with delay because the right person came into your life, but you had no self-control. You had no self-control. Consequently, you were out there doing things with this person, and the enemy got a legal right to your relationship. So God had to let it go because you handed the deed, the keys, the title, and all that over to the enemy. And so consequently, it didn't work out. Every relationship or anything that you build is going to be built in the kingdom. It's going to be built in the kingdom of darkness, spiritual. So it's going to be built in the kingdom of darkness or the kingdom of God. If you bring sin into it, if you build it on a foundation of sin, if you intermingle sin into it, then it's going to be built in the kingdom of darkness. And so consequently, Sister Lily, you're beautiful. Thank you. God bless you. Consequently, God takes his hands off of it and the enemy has a legal right to it. The enemy has a legal right to it. So you can hump the right person right out of your life. You can meet somebody and you have no self-control and y'all sit up there and you don't guard yourself and you're not using wisdom. And the next thing you know, you mess around and kiss. You mess around and you're not using wisdom. Next thing you know, you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. If somebody may ask, well, can you repent for that? Yeah, in most cases, if you don't do it again. But if it becomes a thing where it becomes a trend in your relationship, you're not repenting. You're just asking God for forgiveness while you do it. Repenting means to change directions. So you're not repenting. You're just saying, Lord, forgive me as I sin against you. It's like a man coming home and cheating on you. And you're saying, so you're out here cheating on me. And he says, I'm sorry, baby. What you want him to say is, I'll get help. I won't do it no more. All that. But instead he says, I'm sorry. You know what you're going to do? Get rid of him. You're going to get rid of him because at the end of the day, he's not wanting to respect you. So you can hump the right person right out of your life. Number 8, marriage does not cure self-control issues. It only amplifies them. Thank you. Marriage does not cure self-control issues. It only amplifies them. If you think that you're going to get married and all of your issues are going to go away, no. Anybody who shares intimate space with you is going to be affected by your issues. And whatever issues you think that they're going to come help you with, in many cases, those issues are going to start to impact them and it's going to create a fight. This is the reason. If you want to lessen the amount of fights that you have in marriage, then you want to make sure that you're dealing with your self-control, that you're dealing with the issues that deal with you. So marriage does not cure self-control issues. It only amplifies them. Let's move on. Number 9. If you marry potential, you will divorce the reality. You never have sex outside of marriage. Let me say this. Sex outside of marriage is a form of dishonoring your father. The Bible tells us not to dishonor our mother and our father. Anytime you have sex while wearing your daddy's name, that's dishonor. Anytime you present your body to a person before you present it to God, that's dishonor. And every curse is built on the foundation of dishonor. There's no such thing as a curse without dishonor. If you marry their potential, you will divorce their reality. Everybody has potential. And potential be so good looking. It's potential to be even be sexy, right? Potential can have a lot of things because potential engages your creativity, it engages your imagination. And a lot of times when we get married to a person, we're thinking, it's like if you go to a store and you find something that's on the clearance shelf. Let's say something electronic. You find. I'll say it like this. I have iPhone. I have an iPhone, and I bought some AirPods, right? And I've been using my AirPods for years. And I ended up losing. I don't know what happened to the AirPods. I think I lost them. I don't know what happened to those AirPods. But I was in a hair store one day, and this lady comes in, not the hair store, I was in the shop getting my lashes done. This lady comes in, she's selling a lot of stuff, including AirPods. And, she looked legit. She looked straight or what have you. She didn't look like somebody that went and stole anything. I kind of believe that everything that she got, she probably got it from a manufacturer, that's selling clearance stuff or what have you. She had the AirPods in, still in the box with the plastic, the plastic film covering and all that. She was like $100. I said, for AirPods, brand new AirPods? She said, yeah. Them AirPods are upstairs right now, sitting on my air purifier because they were so staticky. I think they were refurbished or something. I believe that she got a discount on them. I think they were super refurbished. They were horrible, horrible quality. I could barely hear on them and what have you. And so I ended up buying me a brand new. I had to pay the regular price. Buy me a brand new pair of AirPods, and those AirPods worked. Those AirPods worked. So if you marry potential, you will divorce their reality. I was looking at the potential of it. I was looking at all the things I thought was going. I thought I was saving money. Ain't no shortcuts. Ain't no shortcuts. I had to go online that same week and buy me some. I had to go to Amazon, type in Apple AirPods, and buy me some brand new AirPods. But where were we? We said if you marry potential, you would divorce their reality. If you marry potential, you would divorce their reality. All right, let's move on. Number 10, stop tolerating your ex. It's practical and it's simple. And this ain't for everybody. This is y'all. You know who you are. Stop tolerating your ex, especially to the ladies. I wish women understood that a man will concubine you if you let him. The majority of men, especially if they have not if they're not fully surrendered to God, they have not mastered letting people go. A lot of men have not mastered letting go. They hold on to women and they still see you as property. So you become a concubine of sorts. So if you sit back and you say you want to be a wife, you can't be a concubine at the same time. Stop tolerating your ex. Your ex should not be calling you. You say, what if we have kids? Okay. If you got kids, when he called, hey, how you doing? Yeah, okay, cool. Let me give you over to the kids. Right? They will sideline you and block every dude that would try to come into your life. Some of y'all are delayed right now. You delayed right now because you're allowing somebody to park in your husband's parking spot. Your husband ain't got nowhere to park. He ain't got nowhere. He has no place in your life because you let some dude who knew you were a good thing but did not want to marry you or did not want to do right by you. He went out your life. Now he's out there enjoying himself, right? He's doing what he wants to do, but he's still blocking yours. I'll say this. This lady had posted something on TikTok. I saw this a few days ago where she was saying that her grandfather and her grandmother had divorced, and she was showing that her grandfather still, after so many years, he still comes to her grandmother's house to eat. He comes like once a week. He comes over to grandma's house to eat. And I sat there and I said, nobody ever educated her because what that man was doing to her, he was blocking her husband. So consequently, she's sitting over there single while he married. He got what he want, but he's still enjoying the benefit of her. He coming to her house because ain't no husband gonna tolerate that. And you got to hear me when I tell you, if you allow somebody to do that to the men of God, women do that too. Women, women will block you from your kingdom wife. They will block you. They'll keep on. They want to keep a measure of control and access to you so that you can't go out here and nobody else can enjoy you. Y'all better stop letting folks block you from getting what it is that God wants to bring into your life. So stop tolerating your ex. Close that door. Number 11, become a good thing and you will be found. Listen to the wives. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. You become a good thing by becoming a wife to God, surrendering yourself wholeheartedly to God, serving God, submitting to God. How you gonna submit to a man when you ain't submitting to God? Make that make sense? If you can't, if you're not doing what the Bible tells you to do, how you gonna submit to a man? How you gonna submit to a man if you can't submit to God? So you got to become a good thing. You got to become invaluable. You got to become something that's rare because that's how God created you. He didn't create you for you to just be common. He didn't create you for you to be like everybody else. You got to become a good thing. Become a good thing. And let me say this. Becoming a good thing has nothing to do with your, oh, sorry, I'm not going to say it like that. It has nothing to do with pride. It is one of the most disgust. I see why God hates proud. God hates the proud and gives grace to the humble. I see because too many people think that it's this right here. I'm a good thing, and any person that get with me, he gonna be blessed, and ain't got nothing to bring to the table but a bad attitude. And because they master sex and some other dudes, they done master learning different positions. There are women out there who think they're a good thing just because they know how to have sex. Also, I definitely pray for you. There are too many women out there. Brothers, I need y'all to hear me. I can minister to y'all. There are a lot of women out there who think they are deserving of you and that they are qualified for you because they know how to have sex and they prideful. Shoot, because he don't know nan like this one here because he don't even. Mhm. And I often say this, and I told y'all it's gonna get offensive. If your stuff's so good, why the other dudes left you? I told you it's gonna get offensive. I'm trying to get you free from the lies that the enemy told you. It ain't about how you roll it around in the bedroom. You don't master a body, you master a mind. It ain't just because you know how to ride that thing and you know how to do that. It's just too much pride. It's just too much. I had that dude squealing. I had him squealing like a baby seal. You should have seen him. He was flopping around and everything. There are too many women out there that genuinely think that because they learn how to cook a fried bologna sandwich and they learn how to master cooking spaghetti and they learn how to cook a few things and because they know how to put it down in the bedroom because they are overly arrogant and they think that that makes them a good thing. And those are the loudest, proudest, most disrespectful women that you could ever come in contact with. Ain't got an ounce of humility about them. Ain't got an ounce of humility about them. Adrian, I'm with you on that. I'll say this. I was thinking about that actually before I came on here. I was thinking about this the other day. I said, and y'all forgive me because I'm going to say something that's going to sound weird, but it's been almost 10 years. March makes 10 years for me. And I started thinking about this one day. I don't know where it came. It came out of the blue. I started thinking, I don't want no grown man. And what I mean by that, yes, I want my husband to be grown. I want an adult, but I'm not talking about grown man as an age. I'm talking about that the guy that said, I'm a grown man. I know how to handle a woman or what have you, because he just got way too much experience. It's been 10 years. I'm not trying to have somebody that's trying to handle me. Just because he didn't broke bow-legged Barbara's back, don't mean I want him to do to me what he been doing to her. She a freak. She been out there. She didn't learn how to lift that bow leg in the air. She learned how to do all that stuff. It's been 10 years. I don't want nobody that's. I was thinking about that. I have weird thoughts. I'm putting them on camera. I was thinking about that. When I get married, I don't want nobody that's. I don't want nobody that feel like he mastered the bedroom. Does that make sense? These are just my thoughts, okay? I don't want nobody that sit up there because if we can be honest, and I can talk grown to y'all because we're adults in here. If we can be honest, typically men who've mastered women, right, hung to the knee and all that crazy crap, they are whack in the bedroom. They whacked. Sorry. The only thing that they got for it is that they hung, and that's only impressive if you busted. Sorry. Sorry. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. Being hung is only impressive if you ain't got no walls. If you didn't sit up there and you didn't let Mandingo come over your house and mess up your whole wild life, that's the only time that's impressive. That ain't impressive to a. Okay, some of y'all talking about touch my navel. That ain't the testimony for all of us. Not all of us want to be in pain all the days of our life. There's pleasure to be had. Okay, pleasure is not you being hurt just because he's screaming. Okay, I'm gonna move out of there. Sorry, I'm sorry. Let me move on. Where was I? Where was I? Become a good thing. Become a good thing, and you will be found. Who was that led me into that discussion? But no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A lot of times people think that because even for the men, my brothers in Christ, hear me when I tell you this. There is nothing more beautiful than having innocent sex with your spouse, being able to go into the bedroom and really love on each other and get to know each other's body, rather than you coming in there with all that experience. I'm not trying to come up in there and see Mandingo doing the belly roll and all that other stuff all oiled up in the corner. That may be cute later on, but yeah, it's been 10 years. I'm not trying. It's been 10 years, almost 10 years. March makes 10 years. March makes 10 years. All right. Number 12. Husband, you need to know what you need help with. For those of you who believe that your husbands, a wife is a help meet. A wife is a help meet. A wife is a help meet. When Adam came out, God gave Adam an assignment. Adam knew what he needed help with. If you don't know what you need help with, then basically y'all ain't gonna do nothing but spend a lot of time having sex and fighting. Thank you, Kate Dizzle. God bless you. All right, I ain't trying to end up in the hospital. I'm not trying to be laying in the bed all cramped up and in pain and he walking. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand that. I don't understand women that be wanting to be folded up in pain. Why? Just so he could walk away with his pride. Mm-hmm. Don't nobody want no man that keeps saying, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Husband, you need to know what you need help with. The men that keep saying that, there's too much experience under their belt. I'm sorry. Too much experience under their belt. They don't know how to. They know how to master freaks. They know how to master freaks. They don't know how to master a wife. That was one of the ones that I was actually going to put in here, and I literally forgot because I was upstairs when I thought about it. And I'm just going to hand this bonus out to you. Then we're going to move on to the next. Don't nobody want to marry a freak. Don't nobody want to marry a freak. I know that Hollywood taught you that you need to be a freak in the sheets. Don't nobody want to marry all that experience. I mean, I understand that you got experience and stuff like that, but realistically speaking, you want to go back to your default settings because you want to get to know him and you want to know his body and you want to know her body. Don't nobody want to come into the bedroom. And I don't want to see what you did with Big Back Shirley. I'm not trying to learn all that. I don't know what she did to you. I'm not trying to figure out how she mastered your body and all this stuff, how she had you squealing in the corner next to a ant pal. I ain't trying to figure that out. That's just a bonus for you. But you want to make sure this is why it's important to be single. This is why it's important to let God clean your palate, to let God clear off your cachet, rather than you running out there and trying to give all that experience to somebody. Right? You don't want to feel that. Don't nobody want to be in the bedroom talking about some. Like I said, if he come up to you talking some, that's usually a sign that it's about to be wiggity whack. It's about to be whack. He gonna walk away prideful and did jack. Husband, you need to know what you need help with. You need to know what you need help with. You need to know your purpose. You need to know your assignment. So that way, when you meet a wife, she can help you. Number 13, wives, you need to master helping yourself. You are a help me. You can't help anybody else until you master helping yourself. You can't master anybody until you master helping yourself. So the husband needs to know what he needs help with. When you meet a man, ask him, what is it that you would need me for? Like if we were to move further in this relationship, or basically when it comes down to your wife, whenever you get married, what would you say that you need help with? If you need help unbuckling your pants, call your mama. If that's the only thing that you need help with is sex, there's a problem. What do you need help with, and why? You need to master helping yourself so that you can operate as a help me. And being a help me don't mean that you abandon your assignment, your goals, your plans to be with somebody. You need to master doing whatever it is that you have to do and what God has given you to do, and master helping your husband. And of course, He's going to help you as well. Number 14, if you can't stand your own company, you're right. Yeah, big back Shirley ain't gonna live for free in my head. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. If you can't stand your own company, somebody called that. If you cannot stand your own company, you're right. You're right. If you can't stand be in your house by yourself, you're gonna have trouble. You want to make sure that you get to a place where you love being by yourself. You want to get to the place where you can actually laugh at stuff that's playing in your mind, that you have peace, that when you're out, that you look forward to going home. You look forward to being by yourself. If you are tormented by your own presence, you will torment somebody with your presence. You would torment somebody with your presence. So you want to master your enjoying your own company. That means that you've gotten all the voices out your head. You've cast some stuff down. You made peace with God, and so now you enjoy, just being in the house by yourself. If you have not mastered being by yourself, if you can't stand your own company, you're right. And then you'll find somebody and you'll expect them to come and entertain you, and then the next thing you know, you will torment them every time they want to get out of your presence. Number 15. Number 15. Abstain until marriage. If you're not married, you should not be giving it up. This includes the men. Your pink pink should not be flying out of your pants unless you got to pee, or you're taking a bath or a shower. Abstain until marriage, or you're getting an exam. Abstain until marriage. Get your mind and your body out of sync with the last person or the last few people you slept with. Thank you, Mo. Like, God bless you. God bless you. Abstain until marriage, because trust me, we have muscle memory. Your body remembers the last person or the last few people you've been with, or the last group of people you've been with. Your body remembers the repetition of that. So you want to abstain, not just for them, because only what you do for God will last. You do that because you want to be right with God, right? You want to be in line with God's word. You want to be in line with God's will. So you should abstain until marriage, and this will help to get your mind and your body out of sync with the last person or the last people you've been with. I am a firm believer that a lot of marriages are destroyed because you coming in there with all that muscle memory. You coming up in there doing to Jack what you did to Jill. You coming up in there doing to Mona what you did to Margaret. It's just too many people in the bedroom. It's too many people in the bedroom, and your spouse doesn't get a chance to have a pure experience with you. Instead, what ends up happening is it just becomes, okay, I mastered the human body. I mastered sleeping with all these women. Now I'm doing it to you what I did to them. Is she trying to do to you what she did? And all that does is it bursts distrust. Because deep down within, you start asking yourself where you get all of that experience. All right. Number 16, get therapy. Get therapy. It is disrespectful to give people the version of you that somebody else broke. Get therapy. It is disrespectful to give people the version of you that somebody else broke. If somebody else broke you, it is not my responsibility to fix you, to prove that all women don't cheat. Not all women are narcissistic. Not all women are be mismatched. That ain't my responsibility, nor is it my desire or design. Get therapy. It is disrespectful to give people the version of you that somebody else broke. I hope that y'all are hearing this. So whenever you meet a man, ladies, and whenever you meet a woman, guys, find out who their mentor is. Find out what therapy they're getting. What did they do? What have they done for their mental health? Especially if they give you a story of trauma or a few stories of trauma what the last person did. So what did you do to heal? I prayed. What else? Nothing. Run. Run. All right. Number 17. Close your last season by taking accountability. While your ex may have been wrong, take accountability for your role in it. When you don't close your last season, you put a comma where there should have been a period. And you'll carry the trauma, you'll carry the insecurities, you'll carry the fear, you'll carry the rejection, you'll carry that over into your next season, and you will ruin your relationship. So officially close your last season by taking accountability for your wrong. Stop pointing fingers at the person that hurt you and understand that you gave that person access to you. And 9 times out of 10, what the person did to you is what you did to God. Can we talk about it? 9 times out of 10, what you did to God is what that person did to you. He was not faithful to me. Were you faithful to God? Girl, sometimes he would talk to me like I ain't got no sense. How you talk to God? I can guarantee you that whatever you complain about, that you did it to somebody else. You did it to somebody else, and you did it to God. So close the last season by taking accountability. And that's something that's foreign today. I believe this. I believe this wholeheartedly. When you get an understanding of where you went wrong, you're less likely to repeat the mistake. You're less likely to repeat the offense, and you'll get healing. You'll get deliverance. I believe that wholeheartedly. But I'm also a believer that 70 to 80%, maybe 90% of the population don't know how to take accountability. All right, number 18, submit to someone. You need a multitude of counselors if you want to remain safe. The Bible says there's safety in the multitude of counselors. You got to submit to someone. Submit to someone. I don't have to submit to nobody. Submit to somebody. Talk to somebody. You have some accountability going for yourself. Submit to someone. You need a multitude of counselors if you want to remain safe. Otherwise, there's a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof is dead. You'll do what you think is right, but it won't be right. And it'll look right. It'll feel right. You'll be passionate about being right. And you'll be 100% wrong. And this is why a multitude of counselors come in, is that they can steer you in the right direction. They can steer you in the right direction. And I also want to make sure I mention this. Whenever God gives you a multitude of counselors, you have to respect them. I say this because I see this commonly where there's too many people that you get mad or what have you, and you out here, you talking bad about the people that God bring into your life to help you. You mismanaging those people. You don't know how to honor them, and then you wonder why you're running into a curse. You wonder why the stuff that's happening to you is happening to you. It's because God sent somebody to help you, but every time He send people to help you, unless they saying what you want to say and how you want them to say it, you quitting, or you disrespectful or what have you. And then you talking about you want to be married. The same way that you are to authority figures is how you're going to be to your spouse. Who going to tell me I'm wrong? I'm not wrong. This is why, man of God, pay attention to how she talks to authority figures. Pay close attention. How she moves when it comes to authority. Same thing, woman of God. Pay attention whether he has some authority figures in his life and whether he's able to submit to him. If he can't submit, he ain't worth being submitted to. You got to submit to somebody. Pay attention. I just gave you a key. I just gave you a key. If you're dating somebody, you want to find out who are the players in their life, the people that can speak into their life, the people that can minister to them. Find out who they are. And if they talk reproachfully about those people, if they can't listen to those people, if they're dishonoring and disrespecting those people, you better take off your shoes and Flintstone it out of there. Because that's how they're gonna do you. Number 19, this is where I offend somebody's baby sister. Number 19, clean up your debt. Get your affairs in order. Clean up your debt. Don't nobody want to come in and use $65,000 in debt. You got all this stuff. You got all these burdens and stuff like that. When you come in, you want to be a good thing. You want to be a blessing. You don't want to come in and that man is like, so tell me, what you got going? Where there's student loans and then credit card debt. And not to mention, I rely on the government for help because I refuse to go to college and do something with my life because I'm still telling myself I'm a victim because my baby's father won't help me with the children. So rather than be looking at my potential and looking at my God and doing something about my situation, I am stuck in the last season complaining about the man who walked away. The man who, by the way, I slept with outside of the will of God. And when God didn't bless the thing and the man did what he was supposed to do in the enemy's kingdom, and that is to hit it and quit it. Now I'm sitting here dealing with the repercussions of it. And I'm willing to allow my kids to sit in poverty. I'm willing to allow my kids so that I can keep playing the victim and talking about how much money the man that left me is making and who kid he's talking, taking care of, rather than me getting off my tail and saying, I'm more than a victor. I'm more than a conqueror in Christ Jesus. More, rather than me taking accountability, getting therapy, and going to college so that I can look at nothing else. If I don't look at myself, I can look at my babies and say, you deserve better, rather than telling them the reason that you got to eat noodles again because your whack, raggedy tail daddy. You just as raggedy as a daddy if you're willing to let your kids sit in a pit and you don't want to do nothing about it. Now, I'm not talking to those of you who are trying to do something about it. I'm talking to the people that just sit around and they just rely on the government, still out here doing the thing that got them in the situation in the first place, and then they turn around and playing the victim while perpetuating the same crime again and again. Then you got the audacity to fix your lips and say, God, send me a husband. Send me a husband into this. Get your affairs in order. There's nothing like coming into a person's life and saying, so how much debt you got? None. You ain't got no debt. So what do you do for a living? I'm doing this, plus I'm in college. I'm taking a real estate course. Come on, betterment. Come on, you over here trying to do something with yourself. Come on, you love yourself enough to say, I want to have a better future. Even if my present looks cute, I need my future to be beautiful. I understand that where I am, it may be a good place, but there is better to be had. That is respect. But somebody that just sitting there in their situation and want somebody to join them in that madness. Not just talking to ladies, I'm talking to guys as well. Just sitting there in poverty, sitting there broken, sitting there and ain't healed yet. And you want somebody to accompany you. That's the highest form of disrespect, is to invite somebody into your dysfunction rather than you get into a place where you can function. For me, I'll say this. In my single season, I've had guys to come after me and I instantly got offended. Instantly got offended. After maybe talking on the phone with them, I instantly got offended. Because how dare you? How dare you? You haven't done no work to better yourself. And you want to come and bring me that broken down version of you. You're literally telling me this is what you think I deserve. You want to bring me this broken down. I'm not talking about financial. I'm talking about mental. I'm talking about moral. I'm talking about spiritual. Has not gotten themselves right with the Lord. Is still dealing with self-control issues. How dare you want to bring me that raggedy version of yourself? After I sat here and I've had to go through all this dying and therapy and getting myself together and surrendering myself to God and dealing with those nights where I wish I could have been hell, but I had to, sit there and realize that, hey, Tiffany, God is with you in this moment. He wants you to reach out. All of the suffering and all that. And I count myself blessed to have suffered through that. Don't get me wrong. For me to go through all that and you to think that you can come out of a relationship, withdraw your penis fresh out of some girl cuckoo, and that just because you anatomically correct, I'm supposed to just let you in my life. The devil is a busted booty lie. I'm supposed to let you in my life just because you are male. And I know that comes from a lot of desperate females. That comes from a lot of desperate women out there that will accept a man that comes in that has not done any work to better himself. I think it is a high form of honor and respect for a man to look at you and say, I'm in therapy, or I've gotten therapy, I'm in a good church, I'm submitted to somebody, I got a job, no, better yet, I got a career, and I'm still building. That's when you tell me, that's when you're saying to me, I think you deserve nice things. But don't give me what's left of you. This is impartation. Don't give me what's left after life done ate you up and spit you out. Now you on your last legs, trying to crawl, talking about you want to take me in. I don't look like no shelter. Probably with some of y'all, you become an animal shelter. Yeah, I told you I was gonna get offensive. I told you to get out of here if you didn't want it. If you didn't want the truth, I said get out of here. You have become an animal shelter. The last 3 of your exes were nothing but animals. You are an animal shelter. And you think because you euthanize one dude that makes you see, I don't take nothing off no man. Yes, you do. The fact of the matter is, you still got the doors of the shelter open. The doors of the shelter are still open. So clean up your debt, get your affairs in order. Make sure you're a blessing when you try to date. When you try to date, and I'm especially speaking this because ladies, you got to do it. Men, you got to do it as well. Make sure you're a blessing before you fix your lips and try to talk to somebody. Don't come up there with $88,000 worth of debt, a venereal disease, a busted booty, and bad credit, and then think somebody's supposed to take you in like that. And mental health challenges from what your mama did and what your exes did and all of that stuff. And then you want somebody to open the door and let you in, and they supposed to come in and deal with all the craziness. Give you a safe place to be crazy. Number 20, master setting and enforcing boundaries. Master setting and enforcing boundaries. You have to master that. And if you don't know how to, get my book of boundary series. I think it is the most. It started with the Black Book of Boundaries. I think it is the most priceless book of boundary series on the market. I can't say that for a fact because I haven't read nobody else's book, but I know what I put into that book. I know what God put into that book. Start with the Black Book of Boundaries and give yourself a season of reading the book. It's 5 of them. The Book of Boundary series. Another series that you want to get that I published out there, and this is just a shameless plug, is relational acuity. And do me a favor, guys. Relational acuity is still new. Do me a favor. Be sure to leave me a review. Master 2 things: setting boundaries and build your relational acuity. I'm telling you right now, it will help you. Both of them have their 5-book series. Um, God just keeps speaking, and so I ain't gonna tell God to stop talking. I'm just gonna keep writing as long as He keeps talking. All right, but the Book of Boundaries series, start with the Black Book of Boundaries, and you'll learn how to set boundaries. You'll start getting, and by the time you get to book number 5, by the time you're done reading book number 5, you will have mastered setting boundaries. That's if you apply what you've learned. You will have a greater understanding of boundaries. You will spend your time reading that book saying, wow, wow, wow. But it starts with the Black Book of Boundaries, and then there's the Green Book of Boundaries. After that, there is the Blue Book of Boundaries. After that, there's a Purple Book of Boundaries, and then there's a red. So I'm giving you the order in them. Part 1 is black, part 2 is green, part 3 is blue, part 4 is purple, part 5 is red. Part 5 is red. And then get relational acuity 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0. If you want your 2024 to not look like your 2023, if you want to go ahead and make a shift to your life, I'm not just saying that to sell those books. I'm saying that because I believe what's in those books will change your life. All right. Uniquely made. Thank you. God bless you. Beautiful. You know what she said, guys? She says the book is amazing. The book is amazing. It will bless your whole wild life. Okay. So get the Black Book of Boundary series, read it in its entirety, then move over to the Green Book. Don't get the black and stop. A lot of people get the black and stop. Don't get the black and stop because you're going to be blessed all the way through. Get the green. Give yourself time to be. I want you to take yourself on a mission, right? And I also take yourself on a mission. Get to the green and then be like, okay, then get the blue. Once you're done with the blue, get the purple. Once you're done with the purple, get the red. When you read them in its entirety, you're going to see a shift in your mind. I'm not just saying that. You're going to sit there, you're going to read it, and then go to relational acuity series, and you will see a major shift in the way that you think. All right. And they are also available on Audible now. For those of you who like audio books, they are now available on audio. All right. Let's see. Number 21 is when we get weird. Purge your home and your life of your ex or exes. Purge your home and your life of your ex and your exes. And when I say of your ex, I'm not just talking about the person. I'm talking about the stuff that they gave you. I'm talking about the stuff that got defiled while you were with them. If you were in fornication, get rid of that couch, get rid of that bed, get rid of the stuff, get rid of the bed frame, get rid of some stuff in your house, okay? Because if you're believing God for a spouse, you have to prepare for the person that you are believing God for. Preparation is the highest expression of faith. Preparation, I think I heard my apostle say that, Apostle Brian Meadows, it is the highest expression of faith. So you want to make sure that you are preparing for the thing that you're believing God for. So you shouldn't have those shoes up in your house that your ex bought you. You shouldn't have those earrings. You shouldn't have the notes. You shouldn't have the pictures. You shouldn't have the stuff that you slept together on. You shouldn't have the stuff that y'all went to the store and picked out together. You shouldn't have the thing that you felt was inspired by him. or inspired by her, you need to get rid of that stuff. Amen. You need to get rid of that stuff. Go ahead and prepare yourself so that you don't have the residue of your past while you're sitting there trying to tell God to bring forth your future. The residue of your past, you don't want it. So purge your house and your life of your ex or exes. We're almost done. I think we got 4 more, and then we're out of here. Number 22. Master the art of forgiveness. Master the art of forgiveness. No, I don't remember what I said, Sister Maria, but I was, I don't remember. But setting boundaries and definitely self control, I would say. Master the art of forgiveness. Okay, setting and enforcing boundaries. Yeah, setting and enforcing boundaries. I had to go back and look at it. Master the art of forgiveness. If you have trouble forgiving people in your single season, you will give your spouse hell. You will give your spouse hell. They will have hell to pay for marrying you. Because realistically speaking, when you get married, you're gonna get offended by your spouse. Um, they'll do things that you don't like. Some things that you may not feel like are a big deal. Some things may be a big deal to you, may not be a big deal to them. And you got to master the art of forgiveness. You got to master choosing your battles. You got to master, okay, this ain't worth fighting over. Some of y'all get out here, get married. Y'all be fighting because a fly got in the house. I told you to close that door. He was like, man, I was just talking to the neighbor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't listen to nobody. Now we got a fly in the house. And you will turn that into a whole 3-day argument, complete with talks of divorce, no sex, sitting up disrespecting each other simply because he held the door open for too long and a fly got in. You will make the most out of the least. You will make the most out of the least. Instead of using all that energy to go build whatever it is God told you to build, you use all that energy in your chest just screaming. So master the art of forgiveness. Learn how to forgive. Learn how to sit back and say, babe, please, I love you. You good looking. But that fly you just let in is ugly. And it's retarded and it's nasty. And I like to put my food on the stove. And I can't do that because you didn't listen. So, babe, next time, when you talking to the neighbor, can you take your lips and the crack of your tail out that door and close the door with your fine self? You can make it funny. You see how I did that? I can sit there and turn it into a joke and we ain't even got to fight. Oh, so it's like that. It's like that. Take you and your fine self, because you since your lips got you gotta have the door open, take them lips out the door, take that chest out the door, take them nipples out the door, take that anal glands out the door, and close the door behind you so don't no nasty flies get in. Okay? I believe in you. You can do this. I know that it may seem hard. I believe in you. As a matter of fact, I believe in you so much that tonight I'm gonna let you sleep on the other side of the bed. You see what I'm doing? What I'm doing is I'm taking what could have been a fight and turning it into a fun moment of me not being disrespectful, and we will laugh about it. He will joke about it because in that, I'm showing him that I respect you enough as a husband to not take the peace out of our atmosphere just because I'm annoyed. Some of y'all ain't mastered that yet. I can be annoyed and keep that thing contained. I can be annoyed and keep that thing contained. Sometimes I could be on my way to church, right? I could be on my way to church. I think it's disrespectful for me to bring the wrong energy. I could be on my way to church and maybe things didn't flow right that morning, right? I done set up here. I was trying to do my makeup. I feel like I look like I was bathing in flour. I don't feel cute at all. The shirt that I got, it don't look good on me. I feel some type of way. The time went a little bit too fast. Now I'm running behind. I didn't drop something, broke something, tripped over something, and now the day is starting off in an annoyance. I can keep that contained. I will pray that off of me because it's disrespectful for me to bring it with me. It's disrespectful for me to bring it with me. That is to say, what annoys you should be contained. That is not your spouse's problem. But what if he just annoyed me? That ain't his problem. I never understood people that get married and then complain about being annoyed. Have you learned how to master yourself yet? I don't have to give him a bad day just because I'm having one. I can sit there and I can keep it contained. I could be annoyed at the fact that on break, he normally calls me, but he didn't call me this time. The day was already going left or what have you. Then I end up with a bill collector on the phone, and they talking about I owe this much money when I know owe that much money. I paid the bill last month. They saying they ain't got it on, and so I spent the last 2.5 hours on the phone with him. And the next thing you know, because I spent all that time on the phone with them, I ended up burning the gravy, and so now the food don't look good, and I just wasted all that money. And now I forgot that I got a Zoom call. I really don't feel like going to the Zoom call, but it's really, really important. And then I turn around, get on the Zoom call, and the person that was supposed to come don't show up. I'd have been through all of that. I wanted to get a nap instead, and now I'm sitting up, and now he got the audacity. Didn't call me for his lunch break. He had the audacity to come through that door with an attitude. I can take out the entirety of my day on this dude, or I can be a wise woman. I can sit there and say, he said, he come in with, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Oh man, it's just hard. I feel you. You good looking though. You wear your stuff well. Don't start, Tiffany. I'm just saying you look good with it. You look good with your offense and your. I had a crazy day too, so maybe we can take it out on each other. You want to take it out on each other? What you talking about? Take it out on each other tonight. Tonight, let's take it out. We're gonna take out our frustrations on each other. Okay? We're gonna have fun. Now we ain't gonna do that. I don't care. What you thought I'm talking about sex? I'm talking about a pillow fight. We can have an aggressive pillow fight as long as you don't hit my head. You want to do that? You see how I can take something. I can take a day. This is mastery. I can take the offense and I can contain it. And then I can turn around and give somebody else the day I want. And then I can live. And then because I'm giving it to them, they're going to give it back to me. Because I'm sitting here, he came in with a bad day. Because I'm giving him the day he want, rather than me unloading on him. These folks didn't answer the phone, then I burn the gravy. And then it's just everything. I'm just so tired. It's just, ugh. And then you got the audacity to come up in here and you got an attitude. How you gonna have an attitude? You lasted 3 minutes last night. That's what the Bible calls a foolish woman. No, I can sit there and I can turn it into something funny. Your day was crazy. You want to compare days? You want to compare days? Babe, leave me alone. I just need to go chill. I need to go relax. I respect that. And I let him go up in there, he chill. And I come up in there and I'm like, I went and got us something to eat because I wasn't gonna disrespect you like that with that burnt gravy. Or I ordered a DoorDash. Baby, see you spending money. I told you, don't worry about it. I won't spend it. Okay. I will honor the budget. I just didn't want to give you burnt gravy. I've had a kind of crazy day as well, and I don't want to burden you with my day. And I respect you because you're not trying to burden me with yours. But I am here if you need me. We can sit here. If you want to go outside and break some stuff, we can go break some stuff. We go get our frustration. There are ways that we can get our frustration out. Like for example, you laying down on the bed with your on your stomach and stuff, and I'm noticing you got a voluptuous booty. You see how you can turn something into something funny, right? Turn it around, and what that ends up doing, he be like, "You wholesome? What's wrong with you?" And now he's making me laugh, and I'm making him laugh, and it go. I'm okay. Let me move on. Let me move on. Because some of y'all just like being mad. I found that some women find it cute to just be mad. Just want to be mad and fighting for no dang on reason. Same thing is true for some guys. Just want to fight because you like makeup sex. Okay. Master the art of forgiveness, number 22. Number 23, stop waiting and start preparing. I'm waiting on God for my husband. Well, are you preparing for your husband? Faith without works is dead. Stop waiting and start preparing. You know that like that we dealt with that. Deal with the credit. Deal with the anger issues. Get your therapy. Get into your purpose. Stop waiting and start preparing so that you can be a good thing to somebody. You don't want to be the leftovers of Tyrone or what Tyrone left behind. You don't want to be the remains of what Tyrone left behind and be like, ain't because you don't understand. Tyrone used to do that to me, and you ain't about to do that. All that I ain't letting no man do that to me. If I was a dude, I'll tell you to take your hurt butt back to Tyrone. Same thing to the guys coming in with all that trauma. I've said this to brothers in Christ time and time again. One of the things I find annoying about men is that y'all don't even do nothing to heal you. It is not common to find a man that comes along that comes with healing. Like you got to read the label, and on the label you rarely see healing. You rarely see a therapist. You just see pride. You see a guy who feels like he can handle it all by himself, and all of that stuff comes out in marriage. The more settled you are, the more peace you have, the more the everything starts to settle down, the more the craziness comes out. I don't know who needs to hear that, but a lot of the stuff that you dealt with that you don't address, it comes out whenever somebody gives you peace. It comes out when somebody gives you peace. Number 24, stop having sex with yourself. Stop having sex with yourself. I missed y'all. I missed y'all for real. I did. Stop having sex with yourself. How you gonna talk about you want to be married and you have no self-control. You have no self-control. You sitting up there because what it does is it perverts your idea of marriage. And for the guys, stop watching that porn. You are polluting yourself in marriage. You're polluting your soul. Now, if you play with yourself, you can bet your by golly wow that you got a spirit spouse. You typically have dreams of something having sex with you. Porn and masturbation typically opens you up for spirit spouses. Porn and masturbation opens you up for spirit spouses. How you want to be married and you haven't, right now, sex to you has become about pleasure. Sex to you has come about, a means to an end. And whenever you come in contact with a person like that, while they may master sex and stuff like that, at some point, sex is supposed to be healing, right? Um, Sex it's supposed to be, it's not just getting your rocks off or reaching a point of pleasure. It's ministry. If you healed, it's ministry. If you healed and your husband comes home, listen to the ladies. Your husband comes home and he's had a hard day, he's had a hard week. It's just been a lot of stuff going on, or what have you. And you doing your due diligence to make sure you set the atmosphere. You try to do your due diligence to make sure that he has a better day. You're trying to share your joy and your peace with him and all of that stuff. And then by the time you get ready to go to bed, he's touching on you, right? He's touching on you, but he's touching on you from a frustrated place. It's more so there's healing, and that there's healing in your touch. There's healing in your hey, let me slow this down. And I'm not just talking about the sexual act. I'm talking about before the sexual act. Let me make sure that I'm ministering to his mind while he's just thinking from a horny place. Let me get his attention. Let him know that I'm here for him right now. Let me let him know that this is not about to be just two bodies pounding. This is about to be something else. Let me utilize this as an opportunity to minister to this man. There's a lot of healing. There's a lot of benefits to sex that most people are unaware of because we have come to know the perverted side of sex and not the ministering part of sex. We know the perverted side of it. That's right. Amen, sis. 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. We sit back and we learn how to be a freak in the sheets and a lady in the streets. And that ain't got nobody nowhere. That hasn't done anything. We've learned how to master sitting there talking about whose is it, pulling the dude's hair. We've learned how to sit there and shove him up against the wall, and we think for whatever reason that we're doing something new. The last girl shoved him through the wall. Big Back Shirley shoved his tail through the wall. She threw him. She tossed him through that wall. He was all cut up and bruised and stuff, had a black eye, but he liked it. We be sitting up there thinking that we doing something major, what have you. Sex, and I don't know how to say this any other way, but most people are having sex. Rarely, if ever, will you introduce a man to something or you introduce a woman to something they haven't already experienced. I don't care how loud they yell. I don't care how much they shake. I don't care if they look like they having a seizure in the bed with you. I don't care. I don't care if the guy sit up and say, "Man, this was the best I've ever had." If you were to go and talk to the women that he had sex with, they will always tell you the same thing. Girl, did he scream like somebody was trying to take his life with you? He sounded like a broke ballerina. Yes, ma'am. Girl, that man was screaming so loud that he's a screamer. Sorry. Hey, the wall. Sometimes people think that, oh, girl, you should have seen him. Girl, that man, who he never been. Realistically speaking, he's just a screamer. When I was in the world, when I was out there, when I was a wildflower, and I had wildflower friends, sometimes you will have somebody that maybe you dealt with that they ended up dealing with as well, and y'all may have that conversation. You find out that's just the way that he does. Okay, that's just the way that he is. At the end of the day, he happens to be when he's having sex, he sounds like Porky Pig. You know, that's why he do. That's just him. So don't take it to mean that you're the best thing he's ever had. Don't take it to mean that when it comes down to sex, you wanna whenever you get married, it's about the person. It ain't about your experience. It ain't about girl. All you gotta do is get you some of this and get you some of that and get you some of that lotion that heat up, girl. You get you some of that lotion that heat up. That ain't gonna do nothing. What you're doing is giving him something that somebody else gave him, or brother, you giving her something that somebody else gave her. There is nothing masterful about that. Sex becomes incredible, amazing when it becomes ministry. We got one more. I'm just saying, sex becomes amazing when it becomes ministry. When you can use it for what it was designed for. When you can use it to heal. I'm talking about within the context of marriage and within the context of God's will, when you can use it to help a person to find peace, to kind of calm a soul, when you can use it to help a man with insomnia to go to bed, when it becomes healing. That's what sex is for. It's not just pleasure. It's not just all of that experience. I think that experience is destroying marriages. Last one, number 25, mind your circle. Mind your circle. Right, hitting high notes. Women be bragging about, girl, he hit the high notes. He painted the wall. You should have seen him, girl. I was sitting up there like, woo, what was that? Women be out there happy about that stuff. But I just be like, but did he marry you? No, my dog. It's difficult. My baby is 9 years old, going on 10, and he just started grunting. I hear him. He laying down sometimes. I hear. I be like, baby, stop. Slow down. Slow down. You still my puppy. 25. Mind your circle. You want to be mindful of who you have in your circle. That is going to determine the type of person that comes into your life. Don't know heal man. Hear me. Don't know man who has something to lose want to be with a woman who has friends that have stuff to lose. Don't nobody want to be around you when you ain't got nothing to lose. Don't nobody want to be around. You can't be trusted if you got nothing to lose. Somebody who has something to lose don't want to be with somebody who has nothing to lose. All right, Milo's over there trying to adjust on that couch. He looking at he trying to adjust. Don't nobody who has no man who has something to lose wants to be with a woman who has nothing to lose. No woman who has something to lose wants to be with a man who has nothing to lose. He be super jealous when I get Mr. Right. I'm trying to tell you. I worry about my baby because he'd be like, excuse me, sir, what are you doing? What are you doing? Especially when I get married. When I get married, what are you doing to my mama? He probably trying to fight the dude. He think the man fighting me. You doing to my mama? Mama, are you okay? But that is to say, make sure you have something to lose. Bring something of value to the table. That was a video I saw on Instagram. And the guy was saying to a woman, you are a liability to me. And she was like, she was saying something or what have you, but he was keeping it real. He was saying that he was a successful man or what have you. He was like, you are a liability. And I tell people all the time, people who are in business, people who have done business for a while actually think like that, even as it relates to relationships. They have to look at what they stand to lose. And they come to understand over time, after having people in their lives that had nothing to lose, that those type of people can be very detrimental to what it is that you're doing. They can be detrimental to what it is that you're doing. Okay, guys, I pray that you guys were blessed by this. I pray that y'all got something from this. I pray that this changed the way that you think and that you know what you need to do. You got homework to do. Go prepare. This, and I know it may seem like a long list, and you're like, that seems impossible. No, the foundation of it or the basis of it is just see God first. Put God as number one and do the work. That's it. You know, you can simplify it. I broke it down into steps, but you can simplify it. It's just, hey, let me go and let me put God first. Let me surrender myself to God. Let me make sure that I'm not getting into any type of sin. And at the same time, you know, let me just make God my everything. Let me do whatever work I would want somebody to do before they came to me. Thank you. Thank you. Love you, Amanda. Love you. All right, guys. I pray that y'all were blessed by this. I shall talk to you soon.